What is the final keyword used at? Okay, so final keyword itself means that you don't want to reassign a value after you assign it for the first time. So the moment you assign some kind of value for one time, you can't really assign it again. So let's try to do something here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be creating a cat. This cat is gonna be cat one. We're gonna just put it new cat. Here, like we have initialized it with new cat. So now we can put another object here. So we're gonna be putting new cat again here. Like, well, yeah, it doesn't really work because it's being called in a static. So what I'm gonna do is actually I'm gonna copy all this and I'm gonna put it within the scope. So now we have cat one, and then we're initializing to another cat, and then we're gonna keep initializing, keep initializing, keep initializing. But what the moment we just put cat here, it will never is assigned but never accessed. Regardless, this is a warning, but you cannot assign a value to final variable. This is the main point of final here. The moment that we just added final means that we are not able to reassign it anymore. This is happening for everything. For example, name, or just say hi, which is this is not name, it's called Steven. Okay, so now we have name. If you want to reassign this name, let's say Ali, let's say name, let's call Logan. You're seeing that it's keep reassigning, but the moment we just make it final, it doesn't really work. This is the main point. Final doesn't give assign, and this is for the variables. Now what about the methods here? So let's say we have private final void, and yeah, let's just do something, and yeah. So now what happens here is private method declared the final, and this is kind of redundant here because if you just remove the final, it wouldn't really make sense. The final here, it means that this method cannot be extended furthermore. This is like you cannot extend it. So what I'm gonna do now, if we made it like public, we find out, hey, final has a meaning here. If we try to make it protected, also it has a meaning. But if we try to make it a default here, we also has meaning. So private is the only one that defining like the scope within this class main. So it doesn't really make sense to have this kind of private final. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do two classes, or actually I'm gonna do those classes here. So I'm gonna be doing first class, and this first class will have this public final method, and I'm gonna paste it here. Now we're gonna do another subclass, let's call it subclass, which extends the first class. So now what we want to do, can we implement this final do something or not? Let's figure it out. So I'm gonna want to override. You will find out we don't really have an option to override it. Why? Because this one is final. If we try to do this here, you will find a do something cannot override do something because overridden method is final. But if we just remove this final right here, it works. Why? Because we showed you final doesn't really allow being to be like used in subclasses here. So this is the main point that we want. And even if we try to remove this final, it doesn't happen because the parent itself, which is a first class, is a final. It tells you, hey, you are no longer able to extend this method, but you can access it if you want to. For example, even the constructor that we have, let's say subclass, and you can call it like super to do something. This do something now is being called here. So this is the usage that's happening here, and you can access it anywhere if you want. If you want to have like private void, like let's just rename it anything. This is just dummy name, and we call it super do something. It's eventually gonna work. So basically, this is the idea of how you do things with the final, and it also works with protected, it works with default, which is like the default. It will not really make sense, so it's gonna be just remove this default, and you have this like a private package default behavior, and now you have this final, but you will never be able to like copy this and paste it here because it will not be working because it's final. Okay, this is for the methods. So what now about the final class? So if you open the final class, you will find out, hey, you cannot inherit from final class. This means, hey, this is the end. You will not be able to inherit anything from this class because it's final. You will not be able to access it. So this is unfortunately something that's related to final, but it's also like a way of doing things. Like yeah, you can have final in order to prevent like this kind of inheritance, and you can have final for method in order to disallow with the overriding of this kind of method in inheritance. So yeah, this is basically how you can do things with the final keyword. Hopefully you're enjoying the content so far.